Always great talking to my next guest, TJ Laramie, who's finally going to be fighting on Contender Series coming up here on August 11th. He's taking on Daniel Swain. TJ, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. Just finished a good training session here in Vegas.
We saw the promo over the weekend. They had a little snippet of you. How cool was that to see on the UFC broadcast?
Honestly, I didn't even see it live, which was crazy. I just seen a bunch of people tag me in stories and stuff. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. It's pretty surreal, to be able to hear my voice on the TV like that on like a ESPN broadcast. So I was pretty hyped about it.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I feel like this fight was kind of put together like a little while ago. When did you actually find out about it, you being on the Contender Series and fighting Daniel Swain?
I want to say I found out about it at the beginning of, I think it was the beginning of June, like the first week of June. So I knew about it then. And then I was pretty much already, though, like ready to go for a fight, because I was hoping for maybe a short notice thing. And, it was nice to finally get a fight because as far as the regional scene, there's nothing, obviously, at the moment.
Yeah, no, very, very difficult. One thing I wanted to ask you, how did you secure this fight? Because I know when we spoke last time, you were kind of just working on your own. You didn't have a manager. How did you go about securing this fight against Daniel Swain?
My coach Reno is basically my manager and Alex Caparici. So we were talking to Sean Shelby originally about the Saskatoon card in June 20th. Like that was going to be like where I was going to hopefully debut. That's what we were talking about. And then obviously Corona hit, so all those cards got canceled. And he said worst case scenario was Contender Series in August, but I've been hearing stuff like that for forever now. So it's like it's not real until I actually see a contract or something like that. So I was just kind of putting it off, staying ready, doing what I can to be ready. And then finally I got the email and the call, and I was like, yeah, man, let's go.
Good. That's awesome. So did they ever have an opponent for Saskatoon, or they're just saying, hey, we're thinking about putting you on this card?
They were just thinking about putting me on the card, and then obviously that would have been talks in, that would have been March, you know what I mean, when we were talking about that. So they were giving me a solid 8-week notice for that, because just prior to Corona, they started signing people outright again versus short notice and Contender Series. Like they were starting to build the roster up again. And then obviously Corona hit, so backed up the whole roster as far as fights went. So they started putting on fights again and then canceling events. So I didn't have an opponent, but it was almost like a guarantee I was going to be fighting on the UFC Saskatoon. But, I didn't get that opportunity, but here I am now. I'm only 22, and I got a shot at the Contender Series.
Yeah, well, it's a long time coming. I mean, I've said this for I don't know how many years. You should have been in the UFC a while ago. So it's at least you get this fight. It's set. It's good to go. And you mentioned being in Vegas already. So I imagine the rest of camp, you're just staying out here, or are you going to go back to Windsor at all?
No, because Ontario is pretty closed down still. So yes. I came out to Vegas as soon as I knew about this fight. I've been here for I think 2 weeks already. So I'll be here all the way till my fight. It's just it's the best option for me.
Yeah, and you're staying with Cody Stamen, right?
Yeah, I've been staying with Cody the whole time.
That's good. Him and Vince Murdoch, I know he was, because I think I heard you in the interview I did with Cody. You were in the background or something, because I was asking him if you guys were messy at all, but he didn't throw you under the bus, so you're good there. So
Yeah.
What's it like you've trained in Vegas before, but Cody's kind of a mainstay there now. Have things been different in terms of training compared to the times you've gone before?
I've stayed with Cody the last 2-3 times I've been here, actually. So I get treated pretty well here. That's why I like coming back. I feel like I get great work with the bodies here. Really good training for me. And it's just like stuff I wouldn't be able to get back at home in Windsor right now or at all, especially, And I just felt like this was the option. As soon as I heard about this fight, I was like, all right, I got to go to Vegas. I originally thought I was going to have access to the whole PI, but because of Corona, the contenders aren't allowed to use it this season, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is because they're limiting the people
right, that makes sense. Even I was going to say, because sometimes you can do a buddy pass too, right? But I guess because of COVID, they're probably like, no buddy passes.
Yeah, exactly. Like even the main UFC fighters here are like Cody and stuff has to book an appointment just to get in there right now, So and everything's kind of getting crazy in the US again. So it's like everything's kind of starting to like re-shut down almost, So I'm hoping that everything stays strong.
And I know also you got to train a bit in Vancouver. You came out here a couple of weeks ago. What prompted that to you go and training out here for a little bit?
Well, originally it was just a trip I planned. Like I just wanted to go to Vancouver and go see things because I've never been really for sightseeing or anything like that. And then right, like I think it was a week or two before I left, I got the fight. I knew about the fight, so I was like, oh shit, now I got to train when I'm there the whole time. And I was like, so I turned it more into like a training thing. I made sure I got in some work every day, and then yeah, I got in some great work, man, with the people down there. I tried to visit every gym there. I got some great work in with like Dan Golkar, Jay Johnsey, Bibiano, Cole Smith, everyone at Squamish. It was actually it was a great way to like kind of like ease into my training camp, I guess you'd say, like into the harder training, because I sparred for the first time since COVID happened in Vancouver. So, and it was great to move around with the bodies there because there's some high level guys. I was sparring at like checkmat and stuff. So, it was good to just like, get my body warmed up. And then I was back for only 3 days and then I came right to Vegas.
Nice. And in terms, I know that was sort of like a vacation, like you mentioned, but any plans to go back and train there again? Because I know years ago, I know like briefly you trained a bit at Revolution. I know last time.
Yeah, because Jeremy Kennedy brought me out there last time I was out there. But I'll probably go back for sure. I like the work there. I got some great rounds in and I got some great looks for sure.
Yeah, and glad you mentioned Dan Golkar. There's a guy that does not get enough credit in this industry for the work he does. I know you didn't get to work with him too long, but he's really great at what he does, especially with striking and everything. Like he's just a really good coach. So I'm sure you guys vibe pretty well together. I can kind of see that working out.
Yeah, Dan's a real good guy. I like Jay Johnsey a lot too, just his striking's high level, it's a guy who's been striking since he could walk, in his family, right? So him and Dan, between those two, the looks as far as striking was really good to have.
And I know Kara Rose out there with you, right? You're striking coach back home.
Yeah, so like I'm not really trying to cut no corners for this fight, so I brought the best of what I have at home here, you know what I mean? Kara's like really dedicated to making sure I'm being the best I can be, and it's she's never actually officially cornered me for a fight yet, so this will be the first time she's in my corner because usually she's commentating for all my fights. So I wanted to bring her out here so she could watch me spar and give me critiques and like live sparring stuff. Like, yeah, I just don't want to cut no corners. This is the biggest fight of my life, and I really want to make sure I cross my T's and dot my I's.
This really could be a UFC fight, in my opinion. You guys have so many fights. There's guys that get on Contender Series that have like 4 fights. You have, 14? Daniel Swain's got, 31? Something like that, or 30 fights, I think. I'm sure, were you familiar with Daniel when you took this fight, or did you have to look him up?
Honestly, I knew a little bit about him before just because, like, whenever you're on the regional scene, you look up, like, who you could possibly be fighting next or who's next when I'm talking to matchmakers for my thing, you know what I mean? Like, names come up all the time, I've definitely seen him because I know he's fought in Canada, he's fought some Canadians before, but yeah, I've definitely knew of him before, so like as soon as I heard the name, I'm like, oh shit, that sounds familiar, I'm gonna go look him up again, and yeah, but I think I'm not 100% sure, but right now it looks like we're the main event for the Contender Series card so far, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it looks like.
Well, like I said, you guys have a lot of experience. You guys are 2 well-known guys on the scene, so I would imagine. I mean, that wouldn't shock me at all if you guys were sort of put in that position. There is another Canadian connection to Daniel Swain. He went to Simon Fraser University. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard that when I was out there actually, because I was asking some guys, and I knew he was training in Vancouver for a while too. Actually, like he debuted, did his MMA debut and stuff out there. So, yeah, I know people that know him. You know what I mean? I got to train with some people that have trained with him, so it was a weird coincidence that I was like out there before, right after this fight got announced.
So who have been some of your main training partners in Vegas? Is Cody just taking some time off after the last fight, or is he still helping you out, or what's camp looking like right now?
Right now I'm just getting in work with like who I can at Xtreme, as far as grappling and stuff like that and sparring. I'm just trying to get the looks I can, because it's obvious. Like I'm pretty sure I know what Daniel Swain's going to try to do to me, so I know what bodies and stuff. There's not really any specific names. Like I've been getting some good work in with Keith just because he's like a similar height. He's a similar height to to Swain. So that's my main thing is like just getting someone with a body frame similar too, because I don't feel like the guy really possesses enough skills to to really like throw me off like my game. You know what I mean? So as long as I can get used to like sparring that body type and breaking that down, I think I know I'll be very successful in this fight. And then also too, actually, I got a training partner from Windsor that's here for a week because he's competing. He's mainly a jiu-jitsu guy. He's like a medalist at the world nogi at purple belt. He's like really high level, and he gives me a lot of good looks for this guy because Daniel Swain fights off his back like crazy. So it's like I know Max's his name's Max Hansen, and he's just way higher level on the ground than Swain's ever going to be able to show me in a fight, you know. And he competes in Fight to Win actually this week. Yeah.
Imagine the weight cut's going well. It looks like you're in pretty good shape right now.
Oh yeah, man. The weight cut's like one of the easiest I've had so far, just because I was like preparing for a fight. Like I could have made weight when this fight was announced, pretty much, you know. So like, I'm ready to go. There's nothing I have left out for this training.
You mentioned, I mean, we've talked about this in the past about fighting at 35. Is that something you'd ever consider, or do you think those days are behind you?
You know, I think right now, like in the situation I'm in, I feel like 45 is like where I'm at. But given that after I win this contract and get signed, I feel like having access to the PI and stuff, like for me, and having a little bit more like financial freedom as far as like dieting and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because after like going to work all day and then training and then wanting to go home and cook something for yourself is like, that's been the hardest thing for me as far as like making weight and stuff like that. So it's like, especially in the off season when I'm just like, all right, I just fought, now I got to work every day, you know, to make up for what I was, because I still got to make money, you know. And then if I cross that out, I have to work half the time or I have to work a quarter of the time, you know. I feel like I can dedicate a lot more time to this, especially like the diet aspect. Like I was able to keep, even like just consistency wise, I was able to keep my weight so much lower coming into this fight. So I feel like 35 is definitely a possibility, you know, because there's now for this, because I know I'm fighting at 45, there's days where my weight's so low, I'm like, holy shit, you know, like it's almost like I don't want to be too light for this fight. Like, so I'll go and eat a lot that day or something like that. But I've never really had that issue. Usually I'm kind of struggling, but because I've taken so much time off for this fight and like I could just focus on this, it's amazing. So I feel like having that freedom in the future is really going to be able to bring me down a weight class, hopefully, because everybody at 35 is like more my frame.
Right. Okay. That's good to know. You mentioned your corner, so Kara's going to be in there. Anyone else, or how many corner people do you get?
I'm only allowed 2 people, so I got Kara and Reno. Yeah, I got those 2 in my corner. So I was really hoping I could get a third person, but I think they're just kind of limiting everything with the Corona stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. How's the fight playing out on August 11th? That's what I want to know, because it's like I said, you're fighting a tough guy. You're known for finishing your fights. How do you see it unfolding?
I think Swain is like extremely, extremely similar to the last guy I fought, Andrew Cruz, except he's just not as durable because Cruz was like a tank, you know what I mean? Like, I already know like Swain's not going to be able to beat me on the feet. That's like damn near impossible for him. I've never seen him stay on the feet in a fight before and win or get the better of an exchange on the feet. So he's probably more than likely going to take me down. His last 7 wins were off his back. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not much that has changed between 2016 and 2020 for this guy. So I honestly think that I'm just going to box his ears off and that's it. He's going to try to take me down, get tired, and hopefully looking for like a later round finish, you know, like late second, early third, something like that. I just don't see the biggest relief for me is like when you see someone who's been fighting for as long as him and they haven't gotten better, you know, they haven't brought anything new to the table. And like, that's what I see with Swain. So, I'm really excited. And then for me, it's like, I feel like I bring something new to the table every single time I come to the cage.
You certainly improved over the years as well. And I mean, even ages ago, you obviously had the talent level as well, but we've seen that every fight getting just a little bit better here and there. I'm sure they're going to reference it on the show, but I always bring this up whenever I'm talking to people about you is your win over Charles Jourdain. Like, that wasn't that long ago and you dominated him in the main event. I was at that card, and like now Charles is, you know, in the UFC and he's, you know, really got a lot of popularity. So do you feel like, you know, because you had that win, does that give you more confidence going forward in your career, just knowing you beat a guy not that long ago, pretty decisively?
Hey, man, I feel like I've beaten guys like better than Charles. You know what I mean? Like when I beat Nogueira there, like Ja Luis Nogueira, that guy was
That's
on a
right. Yeah, that's
13
good.
fight win streak, 13 fight win streak, and he was 25-6. So he had way more. He had just as many fights actually as Daniel Swain, but he had a way winninger record with against better opponents. So it's like what's Swain going to show me that I haven't seen? You know what I mean? I fought the best guys. I fought the best guys I can. You know what I mean? I've been pretty successful for most of my career. If you ask me, I've lost to the same guy twice, and I was only 20 years old at the time. You know what I mean? I get better every fight. I don't really. My first loss is what it is. I don't really count that. It is what it is. But I was only 18. It was a shitty decision. So losing to the same guy, losing to one guy in my whole career, you know what I mean? It gives me a lot of confidence that there's not, and it was a guy that's not even like same style as Swain. I've never lost to a grappler, never even come close. So I feel like it's just going to be a solid performance for myself. I think it's going to be like really like a coming out party for me. I feel like it's going to be for me almost like just being able to finally show people on a bigger stage, you know, what I'm made of.
I can't wait for this fight. August 11th, Contender Series. You don't want to miss it. TJ, always appreciate the time, man. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, the floor is yours.
I'd just like to thank everybody who's helped me train for this fight, especially, you know, Kara Rowe, Cody Stamen for letting me stay here and give me the hospitality and freedom to, you know, live here in Vegas. And then Kara Rowe, obviously, for taking all the time out to help me with a full training camp here in Vegas. And, yeah, those two have really helped me a lot. And without them, you know, who knows where I'd be for this camp, because I'd be struggling right now as far as training in Windsor and stuff. So, yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to Xtreme Couture for opening their doors to me and really giving me the best work they can.